Hello, everybody. I am Melissa, and I really wanted today to come and talk to you about the benefits of channeling, what it is, how it can help us. Because for me, I have managed to break through many barriers, especially in the spiritual industry. And a lot of that comes down to the ability to channel and receive messages from beyond. So, what is channeling? So, channeling for me is this ability to be able to discover and find and consciously connect to an energetic which comes outside ourselves. So this could be higher sources of wisdom, this could be a spirit guide, this could be angels, ancestors, ascended masters, ethereal beings. It can also be frequencies, energetics like abundance and peace, or healing energy. And we've probably been, if you're listening to this, that you've probably been exposed to different types of channels. So maybe you have heard of Abraham, who's channeled through Esther Hicks, or Seth, who's channeled through Jane Roberts, or the Z's, who has been channeled through Lee Harris. And what's incredible about these channels is they have these very specific information and these very specific viewpoints that they speak upon and speak to. And those channels, so in these cases, Esther, Jane, and Lee, tune into a being or a collection of beings. And essentially, for most of their parts, they leave their consciousness. So this being, Abraham, disease, Seth, come through them in a way that allows their conscious mind to almost disappear, and that you're receiving the full connection in with these channels. Now, this has fascinated me for a long, long time. And I've got to admit, when I first heard about channeled text, I wasn't sure. I was a bit like, is this actually coming from the person? Is this made up? Could this be true? And I think that's cool to have this natural cynicism around it. But through the years, so I discovered Esther Hicks, I'm going to say around about 2008, 2009, same with Jane Roberts. And I lapped up the knowledge, because whether, and this is what I said to myself, is whether or not this information is coming from beyond or is coming through the minds of these people, I found the information to not just have a mind to mind influence. So it wasn't just satisfying my brain and my understanding and my conscious mind, but they seem to have this connection into my energetic. I seem to be able to feel it and to embody it and to accept it in a different way than when maybe I'm listening to a lecture that's coming from somebody who is very studied. So I was a bit obsessed. And since that time, I began to study mediumship and psychic work, and then later on the angelics and the Akashic records, and then really discovering more personally about my journey with channeling. And I have to say that since I started doing this myself and started to research it more, for me, I can't doubt that this is something that is possible. And what I discovered, that yes, whilst conscious channeling is having this having this awareness and having this connection and having this ability to be able to at will open up and receive this information. What I'm discovering is that nowadays, people more like you and I, if you're listening to this, seem to have a more conscious ability to be able to do that. So what do I mean by that? So when I'm channeling, I can hear what I'm channeling. So I'm still there and I'm still present. Now, it's interesting for me because I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth before I say it, necessarily. but I'm still there. I can still hear what's going on. Now, I don't remember everything usually that I've said, and certainly in client sessions, once I've finished, I can often, when I come out of that energy, it's kind of like a dream. When I come out of that energy, I don't always remember what it is that's going on. But what is different, and this is what made me doubt personally, what's different is that I'm here and I'm present, which made me wonder, am I making this up? And that all changed when I started doing this as a Q&A, and I would just have people ask me questions whilst I was channeling. And some of the answers that came through, like, I would not have made up. Like, I do not know where that have come from. That certainly was something outside of my concept. And you hear this over and over again. Like, if you look at one of my favorite channels, Neil Donald Walsh, who has his Conversations with God series. And in his mind, he basically was asking questions, and he was receiving the answer through writing, which he called God. And he started asking him questions about, time and quantum mechanics and things that he just couldn't possibly know. And then we'd go and get these things verified. And, people who had been studying these things for their whole lives were like, yeah, how do you know that? That's a really great explanation. I love that you've done that. So for him, he was like, okay, because he was somebody quite like me who was very cynical to begin with and all this. So when I'm talking about channeling from this day and age, I think that as we are changing in consciousness, there's something there that we do not have to leave our being, that we are still there and we are somewhat present, which I think gives us another sense of responsibility. Because if I am connecting into a energetic, so it could be that I am channeling a council or the galactic beings or the angels or a guide or the higher self of a client that I'm working with, that because it is coming through me, it's a very human thing, I think. It does often come through the filter of who we are as a human and what it is that we believe. And is that because of resonance and where I am and my view of the world, and what this like attracts like energy, that whatever energetic that I'm going to be bringing in through me isn't going to be massively different to my view of the world, to my spirit team, if you like, or to my guidance team, or maybe even to my soul family, that I'm going to be able to get in a specific vibration. And so when we have this conscious knowing of what it is that's coming through and we can hear ourselves, I do think it brings us this extra sense of responsibility. And I think it helps us embody what it is that we are receiving, which I think is part of the big plan of why more and more and more of us are able now to consciously channel, are able now to open up to these higher realms and these higher beings. Because why would we receive this information if it wasn't here to help us? And it's incredible. For me, a lot of my channeling comes on for personal use. What do I need to know today? What do I need to know about this certain thing that I'm going through? What's happening with my business? What's a good way to work with this? What would the opinion be of my guide or my angel, or even my Akashic records on a certain thing that I'm working on? And when it comes to personal use, for me, it's really helped me dive into what is possible for me and what it is that I could become. And rather than going to my brain, which for many of us is what we've been taught, rather than going to my brain for the answer, what do I know, what's happened, and actually really coming from that small self of me, which is fine, but often that small self is motivated through fear, scarcity, lack, safety, rather than a higher perspective, which seems to be motivated more through love, abundance, altruism, love. And it just seems that when we come from that, we create a better impact. We do make better decisions. They have a more rounded point of view. And for me, that's probably been the most beneficial thing of learning and discovering my channel. But it's more than that, because sometimes, and I find this often when I'm working with clients, or if I'm doing a workshop, or if I'm doing a presentation, that what I'm doing is I'm opening up, is my secret, is I'm opening up to a higher wisdom. So for me, that might be my higher self. For me, that might be a teacher. So this channeling course that I'm running at the moment, I opened up to the channeling teacher. I was like, okay, I want to receive the information that's come through the highest source that's available to me to help teach channeling. And I opened up to that. That is who I have requested the guidance from, if you like. And this is where the tasks and everything came from. But as I am opening up to this and I'm presenting, my brain is there. I am still, I think in this case, I'm still in a way drawing from my experience, but it's being informed by this source that is higher. It's being informed by this source that okay, that not only gives us the information, but also starts to bring through an energetic, which I think is quite fascinating. So just like I felt with Esther Hicks and Jane Roberts, or more, maybe I should say, just like I did with Seth and Abraham, I could feel something more. And I have people often say this to me, that when they're doing my workshops or doing my meditations, that they can feel something on another level. And I think that is to do with this extra sense, this energetic that comes through when you open up to channel. And so when we're bringing through information that's for the collective or for a client, very often there's something in there, some information in there that's coming through for us too. And I think that part of our job as channels, and as we open up to this, and I think part of the reason that we will be able to evolve and grow more, I can say this for me, the more I have embodied the information, the more I have taken the information on, the more I've heard them say, think about this, come from this sense, try this, do this, bring this into your practice. The more I do that, the more information comes through, because I think that the channel in one sense then knows, okay, she's listening, so this information is useful. But I think probably more so then is that my energetic is opening and moving and expanding. And so therefore I'm in more resonance to this. And then I can start to bring through the next piece of information and the next piece of information and the next piece of information. So whilst when you are channeling, we still have our discernment, we still have our own power, we still have our own strength, we still have our own personality. If we take on the advice, it opens us up even more. But I do want to give a caveat: it is advice, because sometimes when we channel, we can go all in, and then we go all in, and then our human experience kind of disappears, and where we like just become fully reliant on the etheric. And I'm not sure that's healthy too. I think for me, part of our journey and our evolution is this blending, which is why for me, when I choose to channel, it tends to be my highest self, or it tends to be my soul. I do also enjoy from time to time bringing into my practice, for curiosity, and sometimes an intuition comes in, but I like to bring into my practice channeling a star being or channeling an angelic. And certainly when I'm working with clients, bringing through that energetic of their guides and their higher self. And then we blend. And how I experience that is more like having this team of advisors around me, yet the voice is still coming through me. So I hope you can see from this that channeling is super expansive, and I think it has a lot of potential. And depending on what and how we choose to bring this practice into our life, it can really give us some different perspectives, a stronger energetic. And I want to talk a little bit more about how it is going to help us in the future. So I'd love to know what you thought of this conversation. I'd love to know what your aha moments are. So please do go ahead and put that in the Conscious Channel chat on Telegram. And I look forward to hearing all of your insights. I have been Melissa Amos, coming at you and to you, and maybe even through you, for the Conscious Channel Network.